We'd go home from school and get buckets and gather cow pads and then hide, and when old Georgie'd come along we'd set into him with the cow pads, and he used to yell out, "You McNamara so-and-sos," and he'd go to get his stock whip, and one night in particular, Des, the leader of our gang, he hit the horse with a cow pad and it took off, and old George fell over in the cart. But we used to do that frequently.
We were going down the road to go to the pictures. It was quite a walk from up McCartney Street, and Jeff had pinched a couple of cigarettes off his grandfather. And he got these cigarettes out, so we let these cigarettes up walking along. And Jeff yelled out, "There's an adult coming, put your cigarette out," you see. So I put mine out, and I didn't take any notice of him. But when we got to the picture theatre, we bought our ticket, and I was walking in, and Jeff was coming in the door behind me, and all of a sudden the usher said, "You're on fire!" And I turned around, and there's all smoke coming out of Jeff's overcoat. And he'd gone and put his cigarette in his pocket and hadn't put it out. And it just burnt the lining out. But then I wasn't there the weekend when his mother found it, and of course he got into big trouble.
Running all through grandfather's crop. We done that after school. Had tunnels everywhere. He chased us one day and he couldn't catch us because we knew where the tunnels were, but he didn't. And he said, "I'm going to tell your father on you when he comes home," which he did do, and told all of us kids not to be so saucy. That was a great saying in the old people's day.
I remember hitting my brother in the backside with the air gun once because he was giving me cheek.
The story of the shotgun and the darts at the Imperial Hotel is one that, you know, I've never heard of anything like it in another town.
One of our friends loaned another friend a shotgun. Anyway, that was to go duck shooting. Anyway, that was okay. They were in the pub one day and one said to the other, "I'll go and get that gun for you." And that was agreed upon. And as they were walking out, another one said, "When you bring that gun back," he said, "see if you can hit this dartboard because I can't."
As I understand, the story was there was an argument about hitting the bullseye, throwing. Anyway, they got to quite some heated thing. A guy went out and got a shotgun out of his car, I assume, or his ute, came in, shot at the. Fired at this dartboard, blew the centre of the dartboard out. Everybody headed for cover, and
we were all sitting up in the pub there, and the door came open, and this fellow came in with a shotgun. He said, "Where's this dartboard?" And he looked at it, and he cracked the gun open, put the 2 empty cartridges in, and bang, bang. And he often joked about it. There was a publican's wife behind the bar, and they said she was like a lighthouse. Her mouth had opened and her eyes had shut, and then her eyes had shut, and her eyes had opened and her mouth shut. She couldn't make a noise, but she was trying to. And they reckon, one bloke reckoned the noise hadn't stopped rattling around the main bar when the owner of the shotgun was going out the road, taking the gun home. But the police never did a thing about it.
I remember stealing a turkey once, and a watermelon. We used to do some of the things like that.
Put crackers in letter boxes and things like that, or throw stones on someone's roof as you went past it.
Some bloke had turkey, so we decided we'd roast one over an open fire. And of course, once we had the turkey, we didn't know what to do with it.
Or start barking like a dog and get all the dogs in town barking, and then you'd get out of town because all the lights would come on. People wondering what the hell's going on.
Well, it wasn't alive for very long. We killed it, and we got down to the Screaming Bridge, and then we just to light a fire, and what we were going to have a feed of this turkey, and nobody knew how to pluck it or what to do. We didn't have a knife to skin it, so the poor old turkey ended up going overboard into the river to feed the turtles.
We had motorbikes, of course. We couldn't afford motor cars, but we had motorbikes, and we'd go to a dance, and then after dance, we always went to the cafe and had a feed after dance, and then it'd be probably 1 o'clock in the morning, and we'd get the motorbikes out on the main street and have races until the cops showed up, and then, you know, we'd all disperse. But there was one copper in particular. He was a bloke there he was out at the plane crash, and he gave me a hard time on the motorbike. He always chipped me in front of my dad because my dad hated the motorbike.
Good friends of mine owned the market gardens, and we used to steal watermelons and quite often the chase was on. And we used to frighten ourselves with the fact that the Albanians would slit our throats if they caught us. So that used to spur us into this, and it didn't matter what you picked, whether it was ripe or not. Just to pick the watermelon was a rite of passage.
One time there was no dance on the Saturday night, so about 6 of us got to work. We painted a sign calling York Sleepy Hollow, and we nailed it up out the Perth Road. No, there was hell to do over there.
There was some funny things happened when everybody reckoned York was a bit dull, and there was a new man with a paper, and he'd been on the London Times or something. He came out here and he's editor for the local paper. When I was at school, there was two weekly papers, Chronicle and the Orderly. Anyway, this fella came out and he got the blame for this sign that was put up, but he said he didn't do it, and someone else admitted they did, but didn't say who it was. But there was this sign, 6 foot square, and it was really well painted up. And I can't remember all of it, but there's Brian Marwick, he did have it all written down on the back of his car manual. But it went basically like this. Please cut your motor and dim your lights. Ahead, make no noise, ahead York lies. And it went on a bit like that, you see. Well, the council were in an uproar, they were horrified. And then there was Jack Ashbolt, he was probably the town councillor, I suppose. And he used to ride around, he's a big man, he used to ride around on his push bike. And he ordered to be pulled down, you see. It was a few mile out of town. Anyway, it was pulled down. And then a second one went up, and it sort of started off referring to him. With the antics of a clown, he pedalled out of town. And it went on and on, how he pulled the sign down, you know. It was real hilarious.
It was a vacant shop, and some of the boys got in and put some signs up about there was going to be a massage parlour opened in the main street of York. Now, seriously, there was consternation. There were people. I was the Shire president at the time and got a fair bit of hammering about why are you letting a massage parlour open in the main street. Now, other small country towns never ever did that sort of thing.